And we've seen this Luna a couple of times. It hasn't been the most effective. The timing has been a bit iffy. I think there are several things to watch out for in this case from TNC, but it does give them great push. So you're building in with your
10
Pugna
seconds
on this lineup.
remaining.
You can melt those objectives fast. The issue is timing for
5
RR.
seconds
I'm not sure
remaining.
if Drew will have that space up against this lineup TNC has so far.
Oh, we'll find out soon. TNC yet to make their fourth pickup. They're going to have a bit of a think about it as well. Gotta say, RR's lineup just looks very, while you can dish out so much damage early, it does look so squishy. It just kind of feels like it's a very paper sort of lineup, isn't it? It's like you've got the Treant there, sure, but he's not really one to frontline for the team. He'll overgrowth, but that's pretty much it. Then he's going to run off back into the tree line and just spam abilities from there. Void Spirit will be the pop out here from TNC Predator. So great Magic Burst. I love that into the Luna and the Pugna, right? Because now
Mm.
you've got just easy ways to burst these heroes down. That probably should be the RML hero, I would
Yeah,
argue, right? Like maybe now you just go, okay, it must be a
5
Tim's
seconds
Pango.
remaining.
Put the Void Spirit mid. It could be the other way around,
Turn to ban.
but that seems sort of doubtful at this point. I think RML would rather just take the Void Spirit for himself.
oh yeah, for sure. And that does tighten up the draft, as you mentioned, just gives you great ways of bursting down these heroes from RR. Maybe worry about the damage you get from the Nether Ward on the Pugna. I don't think that's going to be a massive issue in this case. So you do have that
10 seconds remaining.
flexibility. The lockdown from RR is really not the best as well
5
to
seconds
punish or to
remaining.
hold down that Void Spirit. Like you've got the arrow and overgrowth, and that's it. I guess Lucent Beam to set up for an arrow, although that's not the best setup for
No,
an arrow.
it's
So
terrible.
it's gonna be pretty all right for RML to zip in and out here. And RR, I think they're gonna have
TNC
to find the
Predators
last pick
turn
that
to
ties it
ban.
up. Like there is still flexibility with where their Pugna and Treant goes, but their last pick will have to reveal what exactly they want. Fortunately, they do have last pick,
Okay.
so TNC will have to reveal their hand first.
What position do you think RR's looking for with this last pick though? Like, is this a mid Pugna? Is it because it
10
for me it
seconds
feels like
remaining.
off lane Treant because we've seen
Hmm.
KYXY and I know he can play the Pugna as well,
5
but
seconds
I
remaining.
get the feeling it's an off lane Treant with a support Pugna Mirana. I guess you could kind of set up Arrow with Decrepify, sort of.
Sort of.
Still dull. Yeah, it's still a bit clunky, but you can do it. Obviously, the POS 1 Luna, and it does feel like we're missing the Alacrity hero here.
Mm, for sure. Like, Alacrity Pugna doesn't sound like something you'd want to give him, just based on how he plays. There is room here for maybe the TA, maybe the SF. Doesn't look like it's going to be the easiest time either way, but you can get that done. I think the TA fits in a bit better with the Luna, just because of the aura and what it
Dire
does
team pick.
for the TA. So you have room there, but TNC they close out with a morph. So it is going to be the Tim's Pango. More than likely we're going to be seeing Gabby in the morph, of course. Armel in the Void Spirit. This does tie them in pretty nicely. You don't have anything like the Shaker to combine off, so it's just a straightforward shotgun build into maybe just tanking up. So we'll see how much
10
TNC can pull
seconds
out. I
remaining.
think they do have the draft to play fast and protect the
5
Morphling.
seconds remaining.
They don't have global heal in this case for March. They only have the Enchantress heal and AoE. So that might pull back some of that aggression we saw in game one. RR, they need something to handle the Morphling now as well. Something that builds into that Spirit Vessel would be really nice. Ember Spirits in the pool if they wanted to. It's a decent matchup against a Void Spirit.
Yeah, could be it. They will go into
Yeah.
the Ember.
You
All right.
now
Well,
select
that
your
seems
hero.
pretty nice. A nice way to round it off. It does give you a bit more control as well with those chains. We'll see if they can make this one work, RR. We've seen this before. It is the offlane Treant, so they're gonna be able to hold that those towers very, very nicely. We've seen that many times from Reality Rift with this offlane Treant protector. Whether that's going to be enough time for this Drew Luna and Alacrity Ember to kind of snowball out of control, and whether they can outscale the Gabby Morphling and the Armel Void Spirit is a different question entirely. But they should be able to hold out for quite a while with these tier 1 towers.
Yeah, that's going to be key. If they hold out long enough, you're stalling the timings for TNC, you're stalling out the timing of the morph of that Void Spirit, and that can really change the pace. We've seen what happens when a Morphling falls behind. It just kind of doesn't match up against certain heroes. So we'll see if RR can bring that heat. In this case, I still worry about their control. It does feel like they're relying a lot on this Treant to get them the 5v5 control in a big fight, and that's something TNC can exploit. But I do think RR's draft is a bit more solid. I think you've got Alacrity in a hero he's much more comfy with. You've got potential there to really get a lot of good farm on Drew and start to melt objectives fast, so they can take control of the map a bit easier with this lineup.
Let's see how it all pans out. Final match of the night. TNC, we briefly talked about it earlier on before the first game started, but they do need 2-0 victories all across the board to try and have a chance at that upper bracket. And that even then, it's going to still be reliant on Boom Esports actually losing. But you definitely want to just try and do your part while you can. That's for sure. TNC will definitely try to do that. RR, of course, just looking to try and win their last matchup before they head out for the BTS Pro Series Season 2.
Yeah, it's kind of funny if you think about it. Like, TNC's condition for climbing up relies on beating RR and RR losing to Boom. So even if RR lose here, they could still kind of cancel out TNC's progression by going all in tomorrow up against Boom. We'll see if they will go that extra mile, but again, it's a lot more on TNC. This is much more important for them than it is for RR.
Mel on that Void Spirit. He's actually going to go down to the bot lane for now, it seems. Of course, Gabby is going to be there on the morph as well. It looks like they just want to try and set up for something. In fact, no, it's just Armel. He's going to use his Quelling Blade to chop down this tree line to counter some of KYXY's plays on the tree, which I do love. Of course, Gabby's not going to get a Quelling Blade, so Armel's kind of forced to do this. Of course, you want to try and cut some trees here to open up the side pool. Or maybe not. Armel might just leave it. This March is, it is an Enchantress. He probably just wants to take those neutral creeps rather than pulling the creep wave. But I do like that little early play. We do also see a very deep Observer Ward there in that by that tier 1 tower from KYXY.
Yeah, should give him more leeway in terms of getting his creep cuts and applying that aggression. Does look like a fairly even start for Bounty Rune so far. Nothing too crazy, just some harassment coming out here from March. On to Hustler.
It's a lot of harassment. Hustler, oh, he doesn't have leap, right? Of course he went for the level 1 arrow, and I'm surprised March didn't actually just skill up Impetus or the enchant and just go for the first blood. Felt like he could have just done it by himself.
Yeah, I think this does hurt the presence of Hustler more. He did pop his salve. So March is just wasting resources here from the support Mirana.
That's a fair point. Just looking over to that mid lane as well. Alacrity is going to be up against Armel. The Void Spirit versus Ember matchup. Of course, Armel can be online a lot earlier on that Void Spirit, especially by that level 6 or 7 mark. You are ready to rotate if you feel it is necessary on the side of TNC. Alacrity can do the same thing, but you kind of tend to notice Embers do like to just prioritize farm more than the Void Spirit does. He doesn't have quite as much burst damage at those earlier levels.
Nah, you'd have to go all in on the remnants to find the same kill, so it is easier for Armel just to lay it on, and it's going to be key that timing, as you mentioned. Alacrity's not struggling too hard initially. I think this matchup's fairly even for both sides, as we tend to see, but there are ways to dish a bit more harassment out from either side.
Of course, Alacrity also has the bonus of having that living armor coming in from KYXY that we did just see as well. It's really always nice to have that. Like, just that constant heal coming in that mid lane, so you never really have to go back or buy more regen if you are Alacrity, where Armel won't have that luxury. Luckily for Armel, he does still hold a salve, but so does Alacrity, and in fact, Alacrity more living armor being placed on him just in case he needs it, as he was diving that tier 1 tower a little bit. Armel is still dealing with it just fine, but this is allowing Alacrity to play so much more aggressively on that Ember. There's that salve usage as well coming out from Armel.
Yeah, it's just a lot better for Alacrity here. I think, again, you give him a hero he can push to the edge, along with the leeway you get from that Treant. It's a lot better of a start compared to that Morph.
Bot lane, Gabby, I kind of missed that one, but he does go down at the bot lane. Hustler was able to pick that up on the Mirana. Of course, at the early levels, he's only got level 1 in attribute shift right now, so it's kind of hard to survive if you've already taken too much damage, and Hustler takes advantage.
Yeah, it's that's one of the tricky things with Morphling, of course, juggling between your HP, and March with the skill build he went for doesn't really do enough damage with the impetus to force people back. Right, he did go for Enchant along with the Nature Attendants to try to keep Gabby alive. So once they commit, there's really not much to scare them off from this chase.
No, there isn't. Top lane, the one we haven't really looked at yet, Drew is there with Nuts. KP will be around on the Legion Commander, of course, once again. And Tims has been around on the Pangolier, just trying to be a menace. Has got a nice little Orb of Venom there to kind of combo with his Lucky Shot. But they really haven't found too much up at that top lane. Though bot lane, KYXY, does get very low and does die. March is the one to pick that one up on the Enchantress.
Kind of balances out your earlier loss, although Gabby still has to make use of this space to find farm, but it does make it a bit more even. I think just killing off KYXY once is enough to offset that early Necronomicon build that he is going for.
Oh, huge loss for Armel in that mid lane though, John. He went for the bot rune to try and get the invis. Unfortunately for him, the invis rune did end up spawning up top. And so Alacrity does get that first power rune of the game, and considering Alacrity is still on par, if not ahead, he is going to really find the advantage now on this mid lane. I mean, he's just gotten everything. He's got living armors, he's got the power rune, he's got a full bottle. Armel's been left with nothing.
Yeah, it's been a harder start for Armel. I think he's still holding out fine though, like in terms of last hits. He's keeping it even. So Alacrity's not pulling as far ahead, although it looks like he maybe wanted to hunt a courier, but nothing really coming out here just yet.
I think he may have assumed that Armel was trying to back off. Up at top lane, there's a bit of a chase there onto KP and Tims, but they're just pulling the creep wave. But, well, Alacrity, I thought that was the point where he was going to try and make the play happen up at that top. He does end up TPing somewhere. He's gone back to mid. Okay, so yeah. He did miss a few creeps for that, but I guess he just didn't see the opening.
Yeah, he just secured the bounty rune. I guess that's all he really wanted. Again, it comes at a bit of cost, and March is here.
Rimmed it away. Doesn't have any more mana, though. He needs to spam that bottle while he has a chance, but he doesn't have a chance. Armel is not giving him space. Oh, that's a big one. And considering all the bonuses you did have for Alacrity, that is a big loss. A great play from Armel and March.
Yeah, I like that March understands they need to apply pressure on that Ember. They can't allow it to have this much free farm, so they're stalling out the timing. And if you actually look at the Alacrity's buildup, he's opting for power treads into Maelstrom, so no early earn here.
They're going to jump in, though. Armel should be in trouble. Arrow flying through as well with the chains, and they will secure that kill with Hustler. March couldn't really do much to help out on this Enchantress, but he will turn around and dish out some fairly decent damage here onto that Ember. Can't really do the job there with level 1 Impetus. The cooldown is just way too long, but he is going to take the farm in that mid lane. They'll salve up Alacrity. He'll be just fine now. I guess March is just going to be able to level up a little bit on this Enchantress as well, and he'll be on his way out.
Yeah, that did open up the side lanes just for a moment. So you're leaving Gabby alone, and Well, he's not slowing KYXY down, of course. This is pretty much a free-farmed morph. So he's off to a pretty darn good start. Should be building into that Manta stall at a good time at maybe around 15 minutes if it's not going to be kept up.
Kind of feels like Alacrity can't really go back to this mid lane now as well. Like, he's just being harassed out every time he comes close. Armel, of course, just going to farm the jungle while that creep wave is by the tier 1 tower of the Dire, but perhaps the burst damage of Armel now is just way too high on that Void Spirit. And if you don't have Flame Guard, it definitely does feel that way. For now, he does have that Flame Guard, and Alacrity, not wanting to take too many auto attacks, will just chain up Armel. But this is that point now where you might just start seeing Armel feeling very comfortable to start making those rotations. Speaking of, up top, KP, Tim's, Arrow will be dodged, nuts. You're going to have 3 heroes up there from RR, but they just can't really contend with the LC. And KP seemingly has done a great job up at this top lane as well, John. He's out-farmed that Luna. Meanwhile, mid Alacrity getting jumped again here by March and Armel. Will be able to remnant out this time. But it looks like it's time for the Void Spirit to rotate, and it's going to be up towards that top lane where they are trying to go for a duel attempt. They will get it on the Pugner. Arrow will be there, but Armel is there with the follow-up damage. And all this while he still has his clarity running. And Hustler now going to be slowed up by the chat. He does have 3 leap charges, but 8th Remnant will not latch on. It's time for Armel to return back down to the mid lane, it seems.
Yeah, it's still a nice pickup here for TNC. Really early duel win for KP. They keep this momentum up. It'll be pretty hard for Drew to find space. They've already got really deep wards here from TNC's side to watch that jungle farm very early on.
KYXY again going to get caught out here, and this is when the Void Spirit becomes a real pain in the butt. It's just way too much damage that can be dished out by Armel at this point. Top lane even. Are they diving? They are. But the Decrepify did save Drew. Now they're bringing more up. Alacrity's going to be there. Does have those level 2 chains. Will commit on KP, but he can purge it off. And TNC will get out of there scot-free.
Yeah, all these rotations are giving such free time for Gabby to keep farming up. He's got the Morbid Mask. He's saving up for the Yasha into the Manta. Again, his timings are going to be really good on this Morphling.
Valkyrie caught out by the 8th Remnant. He doesn't... Oh, he does have 1 Remnant, but that was it. He's got none left. If March can get in for the enchant, he may be able to slow him down long enough. Though no, he enchants a creep instead. They'll take the outpost prior to that 10-minute mark. They are fighting over the bottom outpost, but Gabby does take it back, and that's going to mean RR will not get any XP for that 10-minute mark of the game. And we saw this last game, and it was a real problem. In fact, Armel finds another kill.
Yeah, you can really start stalling behind if you give these objectives away. Slipping up with your supports like that as well is not nice. You're feeding into the snowball effect that TNC does have. The biggest issue here is that the supports are just going to be stuck at 4 to 5 for a bit longer. Like, you want that level 6 to be up and running on the Mirana and on the Pugna for sustain. You won't have that anytime soon here.
Bottom lane, Gabby going to get jumped on. Armel's going to be there. They decrepify. Nuts, that is not going to help you. However, Overgrowth may. KOXY is going to try and turn this. Nuts is going to be able to walk out of there, but here comes Alacrity. He'll try to get a trade. Gabby does secure the kill onto the Pugner, and now KOXY getting caught by that 8th Remnant. Another 8th Remnant locking on there from Armel, forcing the Remnant out, and well, that means KOXY is just going to die.
Whew. Yeah, it's not the way you want that done. They were looking to punish Gabby. Unfortunately, with a TP point around, Armel was there to back up, and they clean up. So Gabby continues to become a menace here, is just finding all the farm in the game. And even with the punishment from RR, they don't commit enough heroes to really find that kill.
Kind of shocked that you I thought Gabby may go for the Ethereal Blade Rush, but he's actually opting for the Manta, which makes enough sense up against the Luna and the Pugna Ember Spirit. I can see why he wants the Manta first. I just thought with this lead that they have, they may just go for the shotgun build and just start blowing people up.
Yeah, I think he just wants the security, and there's always the option to turn into Luna as well. So you just become a much more efficient Luna in that
Oh,
case.
of course, yeah.
Yeah, it's
I forgot about
it's
that.
not the best Luna. Yeah, it's a tricky Luna game for Drew. If Gabby maintains a good lead, you just shift into Luna, then you go high ground, you push. It's hard to deal with, to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, Glaives and a Morphling seems very, very balanced.
Oh.
Top lane, they're jumping on the Pugna. Nuts will die. Tims will take the arrow as well on with that Rolling Thunder, and now the Jewel's going to come out. That means Alacrity is almost certainly just dead. And KYXY's on the run, John. He's got no brown boots, but he is running as fast as a tree possibly can. Looks like he will be okay. TNC don't really care about that tree, though. They want to go mid lane. They'll go after Hustler for a bit. Gabby does kind of pincer him in. He will leap away, however. Still has one more leap charge, and that'll be enough to get out. But I can't really say this tier 1 tower is going to survive the onslaught here from TNC.
No, I mean, they're trying to heal it up with KYXY. It's just not enough to really keep that alive, and this is a lot of a slower game for KYXY's Tree. We tend to see him with the Meteor Hammer in about around 2 minutes, but that progression's not there. So the D push isn't there as well for RR. They're going to have to contend with losing all their tier 1s and potentially seeing pressure on those tier 2s fairly soon.
Whoa, they're going Roshan. They've got the Alpha Wolf, which really helps. Like, everyone's damage is just buffed by so much. Of course, you do have so much sustain with the Enchantress and KP's press the attack. So I guess it does work. It's just we're 13 minutes into the game, and I just didn't expect this to happen.
Yeah, it's not the lineup for the fastest rush, but they make it work. Gabby has a second life, and he's very close to his Manta, so they've gotten a lot of options in how to use this Aegis. You do see RR at least take the tier 1 bot. So they find an objective in exchange. It's not the biggest objective though, but it gives Drew a safe space to farm in at least.
Are they farming enough though?
No, definitely not. Like, Drew is behind as a Luna, which shouldn't be the case. It's just that they've lost a lot of early ground. He hasn't been in lane. He was jungling a lot earlier. So his progression's just kind of knocked down. We'll see if TNC keeps that pressure, because they haven't really killed off Drew. Like, he has had space. So there is still potential for RR to build up on that Luna.
You got bot lane KYXY just continuing to just push out. TNC, however, they've smoked up now as 3. They're going to find a Pugna Courier first, and they're going to realize he's just down south of them, so they'll go after that Pugna. No dual damage for KP, they just kill him off too quick, but they will get the Courier as well. And, I mean, there was +1. Hustler is there in the Moonlight Shadow, but of course they want the bounties first. And that they will get.
That's a bit scary. They found Drew with a scan, but they didn't have detection for the Moonlight, so they couldn't find that kill. Would have been big if they actually did kill off that Luna.
Man, things are looking so bad though for RR. Like, you look at Alacrity's farm, John. He's 4.7k as that mid lane Ember. Still hasn't gotten anywhere near the Maelstrom. Tims is just going to go and be aggressive. Drew going to get caught out. You do have Eclipse at level 1. Nuts is going to try and help him, and they do force the rotations. 5 heroes into the mid lane. TNC have just backed off. And all it took was one Rolling Thunder. That's going to be up again in a minute.
Yeah, it's I get why they're doing that. They don't want to lose their Luna, but they don't have the setup to really punish just yet, although.
Maybe they do.
No.
No, Armel going to catch up that Ember now. KP, do you want to jewel this? Not quite yet. The Pugna's healing him up, but Armel's getting so much damage out. Now Gabby comes in with the Pugna form. There's that jewel coming in onto Alacrity. They do burst him down in time. Now KYXY trying to survive, but they chop the tree down. They'll follow up onto Drew now, and Drew looks like he is eventually going to die regardless of whether he likes it or not. Another great 8th Remnant. And Armel, he's a sniper right now with these remnants, John. An absolute sniper.
Oh, he is. And they clean up TNC. They find a lot of big kills. The only one to survive is Hustler. like, it's actually Hustler who builds up that urn into the Spirit Vessel, so I can see why Alacrity is forced to go for that Maelstrom. I still feel like it's not the fastest timing, and it's hurting this Ember a lot. Although Hustler, gotta be careful there.
Rolling Thunder, Hustler has 3 leap charges, so he'll be fine. But again, look at the rotations. They see that ball rolling, and they're just like, nope. Everyone TP though. KP dodges the arrow. That's the beauty of what Tim's is doing. He's just forcing out TPs constantly for nothing.
Yeah, they're not finding anything, and it gives Gabby space. It gives everyone else space to just kind of farm up and build up. And RR,
Oh,
I mean,
Drew.
they just can't get hold of him.
Mel, he was chasing. He was thinking about jumping in. Can't jump in by himself, especially when there is that eclipse. But he'll jump in onto Nuts. Very easy kill. Now Alacrity might need to get out of there, and will. But is it safe? No, it is not. Tim's was waiting there. Hustler gonna run out. They pop the Moonlight Shadow. I mean, KYXY, he's still just trying to push out that bot lane and force TNC back, but they just don't seem to care about that. That's one way to deal with the tree and protect it, doing that that split pushing. Just ignore him.
Yeah, it's a slow progress for KYXY because he couldn't rush the Meteor Hammer, so he's actually not doing as much damage on that tier 2. It's really all about the creeps, and the creeps progress a lot slower. So TNC does have that working. They take out the mid tier 2, they go back. They don't really just want to give this for free. They just kind of farm it up.
It's only March though. Like the rest of TNC are still in that mid lane. They're just locking RR into their base, and they're not really giving him a chance to secure much farm. You've got Drew farming across on that top lane, but even then, eventually he does have to TP out because TNC were missing. I mean, Nuts is a bit of a straggler here up at that top lane as well, but looks like he should be okay to get out before TNC catches him. They haven't got vision there, so he should be alright. But I can't say you're going to really be able to out-farm the side of TNC when this much map control has already been taken. Alacrity now is going to run into them. He doesn't have that Maelstrom. Got to be careful. I'd rather just... If he just farmed at this point, we're almost 20 minutes in.
Yeah, it's been super slow for Alacrity. There is a smoke though, TNC. Not
Broken.
relenting.
Hustler does break it. Armel going to make the chase this time around. Has the Yule Scepter to set up for that Aether Remnant. And it's going to be an easy kill onto that Mirana. And that Mirana is the one you're relying on for the Spirit Vessel as well, by the way. But she just can't farm that either. She's close.
Oh,
Rolling Thunder. I hear one. It's coming.
just want Drew.
Tim's just rolling his way down, and there we go. KOXY will eventually TP. Just as soon as you hear that sound, you just press the TP button.
Yeah, definitely. They really just want Drew alive. I mean, they have been keeping him alive. So that's a positive for RR, for the most part. It hasn't really amounted to much, and I think that's where you start losing out.
Nuts. Don't
TNC
turn around,
has a lot
Nuts.
more.
Nuts is just on the run right now. He's just turned around for a second. It was a bit of a scary thing he saw when he looked behind himself. RR, though, they have smoked up, making their way up towards that top lane. However, TNC are somewhat around the area. But no, Tims is going to be in trouble. Alacrity does go in, gets the chains off. Arrow as well was just a bit too late. Tim's now dusting up. Armel's coming. He has a haste rune. Nuts is life draining, but Alacrity has been caught here. Do they have enough lockdown? KP's running in now. Remnant, Alacrity going to try and juke KP out with that jewel. Meanwhile, Nuts going to be in trouble. They're still just trying to run. Overgrowth is really nice, but there's no follow-up to it. They just can't do anything with it. And Alacrity, he remnanted back in. It was a miscommunication, I believe, because they saw the overgrowth thinking they could fight that. And the truth was they could have, but now they're getting wiped. As Hustler is going to be chased, Arrow misses him, but it doesn't matter. It's a 3-for-0 trade, once again for TNC.
Yeah, it's just getting better and better for TNC. That finishes up Gabby's shotgun. So he has the E-Blade flying in now. He's got all the damage in the world. there's no control for this morph because they just can't finish the items up. There's not enough space in the on the map to get that farm.
Okay, well, XY, he loses his mech recipe as well. That's gone for another 2 minutes and 30 seconds. The mech would have been quite nice considering how the state of the game is right now, but he won't have it available. And so TNC on towards that tier 2 top tower. Gabby hits pretty darn hard. He'll take care of it himself. And, well, Arrow's going to fly in, but it's kind of easily dodged. And TNC seem to have found... First there was ES Morphling, right? And now it just seems like Morphling plus heals. It's just get an LC, get an Enchantress or a Chen, just keep this man healing up constantly.
Yeah, it really pays off when the timings are this slow from the opposing side. Like, as long as there's no Spirit Vessel, there's no punishment for them. And RR, again, just haven't been able to punish anyway. Oh my.
Yep.
Oh.
Can't leap away from the shoddy. Unfortunately for Drew, he's also been caught with his pants down. Gets jeweled up. Armel won't have enough damage to burst him within the jewel, but it's enough to kill him before he can do anything. And Alacrity now just has to go back home.
Oof. It's gonna be tricky to defend that high ground. They do have the over. Oh my god, Armel's just in.
Yeah, no, they don't have the overgrowth anymore, John. Or maybe they will. KOXY, he does commit it. There's gonna be no follow-up to it though. This is an extremely hard game for RR, if it wasn't already obvious. And well, that mid Rax is gone. In fact, Gabby's not done. He wants to go after that Mirana. She will be able to leap out of range, but they don't mind that. That means that mid Rax is even easier to take out now.
Yeah, they could transition right to top. Not a care in the world here. They don't even have anything like the Aegis. They just have a lot of damage. Does look like they will splinter off. Gonna play it safe.
He's found Nuts. He has the Ags. He has that Aether Remnant. And Nuts is dead. Oh, maybe not. Life Drain is there. KP meanwhile kills off Hustler. Nuts is going to try and make a run for it. Armel's definitely going to make the chase. He doesn't mind how long it's going to take. There's that sniper again, John. I mean, you've got Gabby with the shotgun. You've got Armel just sniping away from a distance. It's disgusting.
Yeah, it's all there for TNC, and they go into the pit. It's going to be a free rush. There's a double damage outside as well. So, I don't know how RR will stop that. I don't think they can stop that. There's too much to handle right now from TNC.
Aegis Cheese, both goes to Gabby. They'll just give him everything. Give him a bottle, get a double damage for himself. Anything else, Gabby? Can I help you with anything else?
Yeah, he's had everything served up to him. And, well, the Morphling has been paying off, right? Like, all this investment in the hero has given them a solid lead. They've got a BKB flying in as well for Gabby, so... I don't think you have the burst anymore, if you had it at all, to deal with a Morphling. They've just let that slide through here. You know, I'm curious. I haven't seen Drew use Eclipse.
No, he hasn't.
I don't think he's actually popped it. No.
Not once. Hasn't happened once.
Nah.
I can confirm.
Yeah, that's a big yikes for me. That's not how you make the Luna stronger. Still, look at that. Gabby double damage onto the tier 3s by himself.
Some strong water. Arrow does connect. He was strength morphing and press the attack. We do have a pause coming out. TNC gonna maybe have some... yeah, they DC'd on Tim's. But it's just so disgusting because the little lockdown you have from RR is all negated from KP. Like, press the attack is purging off literally everything they're throwing at Gabby.
Yeah, it makes it so hard to commit from RR, and ideally you would just go back and try to pick off KP, but you don't have enough damage on Alacrity to get that done by himself. So you just can't. Like, it's not lining up, and, well, I mean, Gabby still has that DD. He's just gonna rip right through these racks.
Yeah, let it rip. Do you have the go-ahead? Drew has the Eclipse, might just want to commit it immediately before he gets blown up like this. No, he gets the Mantra off and dodges out the Adaptive, but he does die. Overgrowth is going to be there from KYXY, but how do you follow up? Well, Drew will buy it back, but the Overgrowth's over now. There's the Eclipse. KP, he will at least die here, so Drew does get one. Gabby's fallen low. It's still not going to be enough, though. It's going to be a dieback on Drew. And Gabby, he is falling. And no, apparently he just can't die, this man. He still has the Aegis. Just walks out of there. Alacrity, he's going to keep going. Tims, hide behind a tree. He is going to die here to the arrow. Gabby now just going to walk away. And ultimately, that still works out for RR. It does cost a bit. There was 2 buybacks, but after a while, they do manage to take down 4 of the side of TNC. But the problem is Gabby is still here. I thought trees needed water, John. What happened there?
Too much water will choke out the plant, so it kind of drowns it, I guess. I don't know biology, Mike. I didn't study it. Still, RR, they defend at huge cost, and TNC will just take this as a chance to reset. Maybe farm a little bit more on Gabby. He's saving up for the Scotty next. Once you have that up, it just gets really hard to handle him. Armel's saving up for a Shiva's Guard as well. So he's just going to be a lot tankier, and this doesn't put RR back on the map. They need to really maximize this to farm, but you don't have Drew just respawn, so you can't even build up in your biggest core here.
Well, TNC just going to group up again for the top lane. Eclipse up in 35. So you've got time for TNC to just try and take the racks before that's up. Arrow, not juked out that time, but it doesn't matter. They'll purge it off. Armel going to jump in with the Yules. Does connect with the Remnant, of course. And now Alacrity going to get jeweled up. He is dead immediately. They just can't get the Overgrowth off because of that silence from Armel. KYXY, he's just trying to get in range to do it. There's just so many things blocking him, and now Alacrity will jump in on the Ember. But he hasn't got chains available. RR will probably just be okay with the fact that they're holding that melee barracks. And TNC may have just spotted another double damage rune down at the top rune spot. In fact, they haven't spotted it. But if they did, I'm sure they'd be making their way back up top. And never mind, it looks like they're going to go top anyway.
Yeah, why not? They've still got the Aegis. They've got a lot of time in that Aegis, about a minute. So they can just use to opt to maximize it. No point being scared here.
Smoke on smoke. Alacrity, Remnant away. Now, lose some beam. Gabby, Arrow does connect as well. They can't purge it off. He's in a duel right now with KP. KP does get Alacrity though, and Gabby still survives. Now, it looks like the massacre begins. Drew does pop the Eclipse, but it is daytime right now for TNC, and they don't care. The GG has been called. A nice 2-0 victory there for the side of TNC. And that second game, John, I got to tell you, was quite a dominant victory.
Oh, it definitely was. 33 to 60, 20k advantage. RR, they tried to shape up their draft. They couldn't find the setup to maximize every single spell. And unfortunately for them, that does give TNC the 2-0. So there is still hope for them to climb up.
With that, of course, it is MLP Dota and johnxfire. John, we're going to be heading off once again, so it's been a very short night, hasn't it? It's
that it has.
It's only about, what, it's 10 minutes past 8.
Yeah, it's the earliest we've had so far. Of course, we are just with 3 series today, so it is a shorter day as well overall.
Well, with that, it is MLP Dota and johnxfire. I suppose we'll catch you guys next time. Thanks for tuning in.